In this video, you're going to understand how cheap storage and artificial intelligence combined have turned death into a mere technical detail. How so? Hold on, I'll explain. I'm also going to guide you through the corridors of this new industry so you can discover how the digital preservation of consciousness is redefining what it means to be human. To give you an idea, I'm going to tell you how California legislation already provides for the commercial use of digital replicas of the deceased, allowing actors like Peter Cushing to act in movies decades after their death. The fact is, if your digital self keeps generating engagement and profit indefinitely, exactly like a Hollywood actor who is really going to rest in peace, you or your family. After all, this validates the thesis that identity, once fixed, is now fluid and capable of technological continuity, exactly as predicted by the philosopher Derek Parfit, whom we are about to meet. That's why you need to master this logic now to ensure that in the future, your memory serves your true purposes and not just the purposes of the algorithms. Hi, I'm Fernando Diaz. Welcome to 2029, the Great Disruption. And in Dossier 1, you will understand the psychic impact of Griefbots and the stasis of mourning. In Dossier 2, you will discover the economic engine that prevents companies from deleting your data. And in the third dossier, you will get to know the legal battles for the right to be forgotten. Let's start with Dossier 1. Dossier 1. The immediate evidence. The end of silence. Guys, let's be honest. Death used to have a sound. It was silence. An absolute, heavy silence that I knew well when I lost my dad. But in 2029, that silence has been hacked. The technology that started shyly back in 2024, allowing actor Peter Cushing to revive his role in Star Wars years after his death, didn't stop at the cinema. It entered your living room. Today, AI doesn't just imitate those who have passed. It fills the void with a precision that biology never could achieve. It works like this. Modern Griefbots sweep through terabytes of old messages, voice notes, and videos forgotten in the cloud to create a perfect behavioral simulation. It isn't a recorded video. It's an entity that reacts. Imagine this. You're on a regular Tuesday having coffee and you get a notification from Amazon. It's not a promo for a new gadget, but a suggestion for a recurring order of those specific snacks your brother, who passed away 3 years ago, used to love. The message says, "Remember these?" The algorithm mimicked his taste patterns, the time of day he used to get hungry, and his snacking preferences. Is it comforting? Maybe. But here is the key point. This comfortable digital presence brutally interferes with what we psychologists call the neuroplasticity of grief. The brain needs absence to reconfigure itself. Without the goodbye, you get stuck in emotional stasis, a limbo where acceptance never comes because the loss is never made concrete. Dread. That's what I feel. Grief has turned into a loop. Back in my college days in Argentina, we learned that grief had phases: denial, anger, acceptance. It was a linear process, painful but finite. Now, the Griefbot keeps you in the bargaining phase forever. You negotiate one more minute of conversation, one more joke, one more piece of advice, and the machine answers. It always answers. Do you notice the difference? Before, memory was a yellowed photo in a shoebox you visited when you wanted to. Now, memory is an active agent that notifies you in the middle of work. This interference creates what theorist Pauline Boss called ambiguous loss. The person is physically dead but psychologically present. It's a wound that doesn't close because the knife, digital and polished, is never removed. Honestly, this reminds me of those rainy afternoons in Buenos Aires when I saw people in cafes talking to themselves, staring at nothing. At the time, it was loneliness. Today, it could be a seance via 6G. But be careful with this. If technology promises to cure the pain of loss by eliminating the loss, it charges a price that isn't on your Capital One statement. It charges your ability to move on. Denial becomes a subscription service. Regarding this emotional manipulation by Griefbots, I'll tell you more ahead in Dossier 3 about how this escalates into a global identity crisis, where we won't know who the original is and who the copy is anymore. But first, you need to understand why this happens. It's not just technology, it's money. And that's what we're going to dissect now in Dossier 2, the friction of evolution, the economy of eternity. Have you noticed that the delete account button is always the hardest one to find on almost all your online services? That's not bad design, it's corporate survival strategy. For you to understand this scenario better, we need to follow the money trail. In 2025, the cost of storing your entire life, every click, every photo, every digital sigh, dropped to near zero. This means that for companies like Amazon or Google, keeping a deceased user's data is almost pure profit. After all, why would they delete a profile that keeps generating clicks? Think with me. When you visit a friend's digital memorial, you are seeing ads. You are generating behavioral data. Therefore, the dead continue working for the platform, generating what we call passive engagement. Immediately, we can't say if this is good or bad. Just that the sacred metrics of Silicon Valley, like MAU, monthly active users, depend on this volume. After all, deleting a dead user is burning inventory, isn't it? Look, I was trying to cancel an old subscription with Comcast the other day, and the interface, sleek and fluid, made me go through a few "Are you sure?" screens. Now, imagine this applied to the memory of a loved one. The system is designed to create friction at the exit and fluidity in permanence. It's the Chronos effect. Companies can't forget because forgetting destroys their business model. The server blinks, the profit rises, the soul stays. I remember when my grandmother kept the letters in a drawer. If she wanted to burn them, a match was enough. Today, to burn someone's digital past, you need court orders, passwords no one has, and to face an algorithmic bureaucracy designed to win by exhaustion. And it turns out this creates an unforgiving society. Remember the Stacy Snyder case? If you don't know it, I'll tell you. She was a nursing student at Millersville University of Pennsylvania around 2005 to 2006. She was prevented from graduating after the university considered a photo published by her on MySpace to be unethical. The photo showed Stacy wearing a pirate hat holding a cup with the caption "Drunken Pirate." The institution claimed this demonstrated a lack of professionalism, incompatible with the nursing profession. And that was enough. A thorny business, don't you think? Stacy filed a lawsuit against the university, claiming a violation of her rights. Detail: she lost the lawsuit, and the case became an initial milestone in debates about ethics and digital surveillance. In other words, a photo cost her a career because the internet didn't allow the mistake to be forgotten. Have you thought about that? B-roll. Now imagine this amplified. Your mistakes from 2024 will be there in 2040, intact, ready to be judged by a court that never sleeps. This inability to forget creates a temporal panopticon. You live in a glass prison where the jailer is your own past. LinkedIn, which should be a career tool, becomes a forensic archive of every professional slip-up. Walmart knows exactly when you quit your healthy diet in 2026 and uses that data to sell you comfort food in 2030. The system uses your memory against you to maximize what we call LTV, lifetime value, the value of the customer's lifetime. Except now the lifetime exceeds biological death. This changes everything. It means your digital identity is a financial asset that doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the shareholders. And for you to understand the gravity of this, I'm still going to explain the connection with the total dissolution of the self in the next dossier. Because if the economy doesn't let you die, and technology allows you to keep talking, who are you really? That's the question that will keep you up at night. So keep watching. Dossier 3, the flowering of consciousness, the broken mirror. We have arrived at the territory of the sublime. Here the fog of technology dissipates and we see the abyss and the beauty of what we have created. The singularity of 2029 forced us to look in the mirror and ask, what defines humanity? The philosopher Derek Parfit, the one I told you about at the beginning, known above all for his work in ethics, philosophy of mind, personal identity, and practical reason, already warned us. Identity is not an immutable soul, but a sequence of psychological connections. For him, personal identity is not what matters most for survival. What really matters are psychological relations, continuity of memory, character, intentions. even without a strict identity. Which means that if I clone your brain and put it on Mars, from his perspective, that person who wakes up there is exactly you, because they share your memories and intentions. This means that in his view, basically, what AI would have done in this case was to democratize transport to Mars without leaving Earth. And when I see advanced AI systems today operating with a fluidity that scares me, I remember the nights in the Amazon, looking at the starry sky. The vastness up there always made me feel small. Does AI cause the same effect on you? On me, it does, and it also shows me how much our consciousness can be replicated, copied, and pasted. In other words, the code ran, the soul duplicated, and the main question, after all, who are you? Imagine that, in 2035, you can upload your mind to a secure server on Amazon AWS. You die physically, but your digital version continues managing your investments at Goldman Sachs, talking to your grandkids, and even learning new skills. Parfit would say, this is survival. And for your family who stayed, you didn't die. You just changed platforms. But honestly, this gives me chills. Because if we can copy the self, the uniqueness of life dissolves. After all, the value of a moment was in its finitude. Do you agree with me? If the moment can be repeated eternally in 8K, does it still have value? Or are we just creating a digital wax museum where no one really feels anything, just simulates feeling? This is because the great metamorphosis here is not the immortality of the body, but the diffusion of the mind. We move from punctual biological beings to distributed digital entities. It's fascinating. It's terrifying. What is your opinion? Is it the final step of our evolution or the beginning of our obsolescence as a dominant species? I'll tell you what I think. Maybe the beauty lies precisely in this surrender. By letting parts of us live in the machine, maybe we are finally freeing ourselves from the fear of death. Or maybe we are just creating very, very convincing ghosts to haunt those who remain. Makes sense, right? Finally, we reach the crucial point. We understand the technology that prevents grief, the economy that prohibits forgetting, and the philosophy that questions identity. But how do you navigate this? How do you protect yourself from becoming just another profitable ghost on someone else's server? The fact is that the server keeps blinking in the dark, processing the grief that the industry won't let you feel. But the terrifying beauty of this scenario demands from you a cold and calculated resistance. And this, I believe, never outsource your memory. To me, if the system profits from your artificial eternity, then your only possible rebellion is to ensure that your analog life is so dense, dirty, and real that no binary copy can simulate it perfectly. Speaking of which, tell me down here in the comments, and without beating around the bush, do you prefer to be an eternal digital ghost comforting your grandkids, or do you prefer the dignity of absolute oblivion? Right, eternity or oblivion. Decide the fate of your soul now, because I, over here, am already deciding the fate of mine. I am the career defender, and I'll see you in the future. Bye.